Hi guys, it's Ross here, and I'm going to teach you how to become a full-time filmmaker and the tips that have made us such a successful business. So if you're new around here, please click the subscribe button and go and check out my social pages where I'm always giving lots of valuable information. We have an aspiring videographers Facebook group which has loads of members in, and we all share ideas and tips to help people make that transition from freelance to full-time filmmaker. For those of you who don't know, my name's Ross Welch and I own one of the most successful RCP video production companies in the world, and we employ a team of people here in our amazing studio, and we regularly turn over 6 figures. And one of the biggest challenges that I faced throughout my whole time was making that jump from working part-time to then being a full-time filmmaker. And I know that many of you who will be watching this are going through that exact same thing and trying to make it work but not quite being able to do that. So I want to break that down into how we can actually achieve that so that you have the best chance of success. And by the end of this video, you're going to have all the information you need to know to be able to make that jump and start making that transition. So firstly, one of the main points that I really want to discuss, and I discuss this with a lot of people who have already made it in the industry and become really successful in their own right, whether they've remained freelance or grown a production company. And that's really, as filmmakers, we're always striving to create the best content. Whether you're a beginner, you always want to be better, and whether you're a professional already, you're still wanting to grow more and more in terms of your ability. But in terms of a business and being successful as a business owner, it actually doesn't have that much to do with your creativity. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, oh my God, you're telling me I don't have to be the best filmmaker to be a professional filmmaker? Yeah, basically, that's exactly what I'm saying. Because look, you might be the most creative person in the world. You might be the best filmmaker in the world, but if you don't have an ounce of business knowledge and how to convert those clients into paying clients and using your services and how to run a business, you simply won't make it work and you won't have a successful business. And I see this time and time again. I have friends, but also people that I've observed from our various groups. And I just see these creative people that can provide the best value content, and they are constantly saying, I can't make it work, I could never really do that, like, I can't get clients, I don't get as much work as I want. And you think, how? And I'm not the best filmmaker in the world, but I have a business that turns over 6 figures and more each year. So how is it that I can do that? And yet I've got these people that are far more talented than perhaps I am, and they simply can't make it work. And that's understanding business knowledge. And YouTube is great for learning how to use a camera. YouTube's great for learning how to edit and techniques and things like that. It's all filled with it, but there's no one out there teaching you this stuff. And this really is the basic foundations. It's actually what made me go on to set up my own course, the Perspective Academy, where we take people through this. But I'm going to give you this information and the premise of what it is that you need to do today for absolute free. So now that we've established that you don't need to be the best filmmaker to make money and make a living out of filmmaking, we can now start to think about, okay, well, how do we do that? And number one is really you need clients, right? We can all agree the fact that you need clients to be able to grow your business. So where do we get them? Where are they hiding? And that's the first thing that you need to figure out in making this transition. Now, some of you will already be doing some work part-time and being paid for that, and that's great, but it's how do we make that more regular? How can we make sure that income is stable so that you can quit your job and do what it is that you love? So the first thing, let's try and figure out where those people are hiding. So you want to do things like look at what you're passionate about. Look at the type of industries that you're working within at the moment. Have you got any pre-existing skills? So for instance, my story is as a professional skier. So a lot of my clients, when I made that initial jump, was simply just a case of taking the clients that I have worked with and know of within the snow sports world, and then providing my services to them. Because I could ski around with a camera, it made sense. So you need to break this down and have a little think. Is there any hobbies that you've got or anything that you're really passionate about? And when passion is the driving force behind what it is that you're doing, you will always make money at it, because it's going to be the thing that gives you dedication, and that's really the key here. So trying to figure out where your clients are hiding is literally the most important point, because if you don't know where they're hiding, how can you pitch them or find them? And you're just trying to find the people that are going to have the best connection with you, because if you connect well with them, they'll probably connect well with you, and therefore they'll make a sale. And a lot of this advice, by the way, is very kind of simple business advice, but when you actually really look at what it is that you're doing, you won't be doing one of these points that I'm giving you today, and that's really going to be the breakdown. And like I said, this was the foundation that took me from being an amateur filmmaker part-time to doing it full-time and growing a successful business. And these are all things that we do now. You know, we've actually literally spent this whole week looking at new industries, things that we can move into, things that we've got a connection with, and then being able to build a list of clients that we want to target from there. And that's the next step. So once you've figured out the main things that you're passionate about or the industries that you want to target, you're then going to create a list. So a spreadsheet, something like that, and list the industry. And then you're going to list all the clients that you want to work for. And we'll call that your top 100. Okay. So I want you to list 100 people who would be your like dream client, let's say. Okay. So they're the people that you're really passionate about working with. Now, I would give you some advice here, and that is, don't get too ahead of yourself. You know, everyone has this huge dream about working with big companies, and I came off a mentoring call with one of our students the other day, and they said exactly that. You know, they wanted to know how to get bigger clients. Now, bigger clients doesn't always mean bigger money. You know, yes, when you work in TV advertising and you grow into that kind of area, that, you know, there are big budgets, there's no doubt about it, but it's very hard to penetrate that initially. So what we need to do is we just need to focus on local businesses are great, because there's a real sense of community. And by the way, now is as good time as ever. There is no reason that you cannot be signing clients right now. So create this list, create local businesses of industries that you're particularly interested in. And then what you're going to do is you're going to list their name, their business, and then all of their contact forms, okay? So you're going to be looking at their phone number, their email address, their Facebook, their Instagram, their YouTube. And also by doing this for each one of those clients, it will really build up a better picture of what it is that you need to do and what you can offer to them. Because if you've just got their email address and you just email them quite generically, it's just going to be that. It'll be a generic email. Whereas if you've actually had a look at their social handles, you might be able to tailor that email. So you can say, look, I was looking at your YouTube and I've noticed that you haven't uploaded anything for, 2 years. I think that we can create a really nice video to start engaging your customers again. And you can see how it already starts building. So first we want to find those clients, find out where they're hiding and where your passions lie. And then you're going to build up this 100 list of 100 names that you're going to outreach to. It doesn't stop there. You don't want to just stop at 100, but that's what we're going to go for the time being. Because at the moment, the thing that I know that a lot of amateurs do is they sit by the phone waiting for it to ring. And that is never gonna happen. You know, you're not gonna just be sitting there and work just magically appears. You need to go out there and get it. So that's the biggest bit of advice, is by creating this list, it gets you in the right mind frame of being able to approach clients and determine who it is that you want to pick. Now, with those businesses, I want you all to make note of this. There's only 2 people within any business that you want to be approaching. Everyone else is completely not on the cards. You don't want to speak to them. So the first one is the business owner, for obvious reasons. They make all the decisions, and especially with the small businesses, the business owner is the person to go for. Now, when you're looking at SMEs, so small, medium enterprises, people that are turning over a bit more than your local coffee shop, then you want to look at maybe a marketing manager. So whether it's a marketing manager or a business owner, they're the 2 people that you need to be outreaching to. So whether you're finding them on LinkedIn or you're finding their emails on Google or searching various other ways, and I've actually done a few videos in the past about specific ways on how you can reach these people, then they're the 2 types of people that you want to pick, is marketing managers or business owners, because they're the ones that are basically hold the budgets, and they're going to be able to give you the money to be able to go full time. So in the next 2 steps, I want to kind of follow approach and then the offering. So how we are actually going to then talk to the clients, and we're actually going to like get them on board, and then what we're actually going to offer as well, and some key strategies that we use, for instance, not to be the first to mention price, and I'll explain more about that in a second. So we found your ideal market. We've got a list of names and people that we're going to approach. So how are we going to just do that? How are we going to approach them, and what kind of outreach methods should we use? So outreach is a term used to anything when we're basically reaching out to a client and we're going to ask them if they're interested. And that's the key factor here, is we just want to find out initially, are they interested? Because if they're not interested, there's no point in wasting your time. And if they say they're not interested, it doesn't mean a no, it just means a not now. So you want to put them on your mailing list for 6 months' time, where you can check back in with them and see if anything's changed and perhaps you can help them. Because someone who doesn't need business now might be because of finances, or it might be because they don't see the importance of it. But in 6 months' time, they might have made more money, or they might have actually understand the fact that their business wasn't working because they don't have any video content and they need some kind of promotional material. So we're going to outreach to them, and we're just going to drop them a nice simple email that just introduces yourself, says hi, you know, who you are. And again, if we've focused on local areas, you can say that you're a local person and you're looking to support businesses in the local community. And people really like that, especially with what's going on at the moment. There's a real sense of community and atmosphere. So that's what we want to play on. And we want to be their best friends, right? We want to create a relationship. And this isn't sales tactics that we would have had years ago with old-fashioned salespeople. You know, we actually want to build a relationship with them. And that's why we're in a position that we are today, because we still retain so many of the clients that we had when I first started out. And that's really important for business growth. And again, you can build that. So your approach to the email is quite simply introducing yourself, saying about the type of work that you do, and then you're going to drop the line in there, would that be something that you're interested in? And then leave it there. Look forward to hearing from you, and then sign it off with your footer at the bottom. Make sure you leave links to your website, your business logo and things like that, because I know that as an amateur, a lot of people actually forget about those things, and they're really important because it creates a bit more of an established brand as well. And some of you might be thinking, well, I'm not established, so you know, why would they possibly want to work with me? Budgets. That's the exact reason that they might want to work with you. So, you know, we miss out on a lot of work because we're highly priced. You know, we're a high ticket item. And the reason we're a high ticket item is because we have a studio, we have running costs, we have staff costs, we have a lot of equipment. So all of the work that we miss out on, which is a lot of jobs over the year, they're the work that you can pick up. Because if you're trying to make that transition, really your number one goal is, yes, money, but really it's about getting a client base. Because once you've got a couple of clients semi-regularly paying you a few £100s, then you're in a better position to go full time because you've got a lot of clients and you've got some kind of regular income there. So that's really, really important. But first, you know, that's the approach that we're going to do, is email them, just introduce yourself, see if they're interested. Now moving on to your offerings. So the type of offering that you want to put on the table is when they come back and say, yeah, you know, we are interested, or you might have suggested something to them before. The number one thing right now is customer journey videos. And a customer journey video, for those of you who don't know, is really just the journey the customer takes through the person's business. And that doesn't matter whether they're an online business or whether they have a shop front. Because if they're an online business, how I would approach that video is I would have the CEO of that business sit down and do an interview, and we will overlay clips over the top to explain what the business is about. So sometimes the customer journey can kind of cross over into a business overview, but they work really well hand in hand. And like I said, anyone that particularly has a premises, it works really well for, because it shows the measures that the businesses are taking to, one, keep them safe, but also so the customers know what to expect and they can kind of experience it and they can get excited about it. People buy most of the time on excitement, so that's what we're trying to do with our video. So they're the offerings. The offering is pretty much a business overview or at least a customer journey. They're the two things that sell and they convert the highest for us. They are literally the number one videos that we offer. And from that, we can offer other things, but we use it as a really good foot in the door, because we can get our foot in the door, we can produce the first video, show them how we can do such a good job, and then we move them on to different types of videos, and that's where we start talking about regular income. So remember that I said at the start, having a successful business isn't about being the best creative person or the best camera person in the world. It's about having this simple business knowledge, and so many people really lack this, or they only apply it by halves. They only do half of the stuff, or they do all of the stuff, but only to half the effect. You know, they might send out bulk emails to save time, and trust me, people know when they receive an email that's generic, you know, so it's about making it personalized, but it's given every single opportunity 100% dedication, and then you're going to have a much better chance of success. It is a numbers game, so it is about reaching out to as many people as you possibly can, but it's really key to keep in mind the fact that yes, you want to have good camera skills, because if you do a shit video, they're not necessarily going to come back and use you again. So yes, you do want to have some kind of talent there, but don't let that be the overriding factor between where you are at the moment and going full time. Because I know some people that won't go full time because they don't think they're good enough, and that's ridiculous. Like, you are all good enough. Anyone can make this work. Trust me, if I can make this work to this level, you can do the same. So just take this knowledge and apply it. So just to recap, we've gone over where your customers are hiding and ways to find them, things you're passionate about. We've then built your top 100 list, so a list of people that you're going to outreach to, but more importantly, we've looked at all of their social handles, and then we've really got a real 360 view of their business so we can best serve them. Then we've looked at the initial approach and how we're going to approach them and what kind of videos we're going to offer. And if you apply these, they're the recipe for success. That's what we still do now, is take those 4 major tips and those foundations, and we build upon them, and that's how we get even big clients right now. Now, if you guys have found this useful, make sure you check out the other videos. I've got tons and tons of videos all on this business stuff. And like I said, there's so much on YouTube about how to create videos and edits and transitions and all of that kind of stuff, but no one's teaching you this stuff. This is how to run a successful business and make that jump to a full-time filmmaker. I've set up the Perspective Academy, so make sure you go and check that out. And it's a 2-hour free training, no strings attached. It's a webinar where you can sign up for. The link will be in this description. It's training.perspectiveacademy.co.uk. 2-hour webinar where I give you the 3 foundations and I expand on it in a huge amount of depth. You can appreciate I can only do so much in a small YouTube video, so make sure you go and check that out if you're serious about becoming a full-time filmmaker. I look forward to seeing you over there soon.